And finally, we have Kratos versus Loong here, 1 hour late, but it wouldn't be OSL if we weren't late. It's going to be set 1, Blood and Suffocation Pit 1, set 2, Ghoul and Suffocation Pit 1, and a tiebreaker of Clown on the Wrecker's Yard. Wonder who's going to be taking away this one. You got two NEA Titans from roughly the same country, actually, being China, with the exception of anywhere else within the NEA region, but I don't think there is going to be any sort of other one this time around. It is just, yeah, two Titans from CNDL, realistically. We do have Pepsi, the likes of Pepsi spawning in here, though, the captain of Kratos, alongside a very mean old looking 4 survivors here. We know what Chillin's capable of. We know what Sakuta's capable of. Effect as well. And how about the Season 5 MVP, Pig himself, on the Survivor this time around. On the Ace, nonetheless. You've seen him on the Dustin back in Season 5, but rocking something a little bit different. I like it. Anywho, Pepsi going to be following up the first chase here of the game onto potentially Pig himself, as to oppose of chasing, I think it was Sakuta at the beginning, but it's going to result in a fairly quick tag. He's just forced to use the main building and just going to be Wing away with all that kind of distance made towards the window. Does so effectively and nicely. Just playing his distance around main building, and then the safety bumps coming in from Pepsi. Does he get the short swing through the pallet? No, he does not. Now, this is not a ping matchup. These guys are all 30 MS to anywhere between 30 and 60 MS realistically, but that's not yet to matter. We are going to be seeing some conventional gameplay here with the pallets being dropped, and unfortunately just Pig going down shortly after. Yeah, 60-40, 60-40. Yeah, around there, ballpark. But Pepsi going to be getting down nice and early onto Pig there, able to take control of this match. We do have effect ready preemptive for the save with Deliverance in hand and Overcome. And before I get ahead of myself and cast over the entire game, I would like to introduce my co-caster. It's no longer Peaches. He has left us. It is going to be none other than Chief. How are we doing, mate?
I am back. Yes, did have a bit of a break this weekend, much to my enjoyment, but I am finally back on the caster's desk, and what a game to be joining you for, Hunter. We do have Loong versus Kratos, and Pepsi's already off to a bit of a flying start, finding effect here, forcing an early trade as well as putting him in yet a better position. That's the 2 rush to get that first tag, and we're going to hit the BT of Pig. We're really looking to get him out of the game fast. 2 gens in the background on the bottom side are whirring, but that's Pig on the ground already for his second hook stage at 5 generators. What's even more concerning, Hunter, is of course this 4 gen on the top side. It is gross. Even if we do lose this gen at 11, main 1 and 2, we can just see it there, is unbelievable. And I think Pepsi is going to be playing around this top side the entire game. The gens are definitely in his best interest to protect, and right now, of course, 2 of those generators on the bottom side, like I said, are going to pop. Effect now in chase over here at 2 injured. Has to be very, very safe. He is our Deliverance survivor at least, so some leeway there. He does vault right into Pepsi, but Pepsi rushes on by. That's 4 rushes used now, and the 4th will be the one that connects. Deliverance wasn't even up, by the way. Pig on the floor too quickly. And something I want to talk about really quick, Hunter, as well, is the fact that we are seeing Pig in the survivor lineup. This isn't too common for Loong. We know that they have a very strong, consistent survivor lineup that normally features Caesar or Niers, as we know them in OCE, and I would assume they have some scheduling issues considering the fact that Pig is on a Blight set. The only sets we tended to see Pig on were the really, really macro-intensive sets like Spirit that weren't too chase or mechanically intensive, and seeing Pig on one of these would probably suggest to me that they might not be at their full strength tonight. Of course, it is still Loong, so saying that, I would be quite confident in their abilities to recover even in this 3v1, which has begun at 3 generators remaining. This is something you don't get to see from Loong very often, but they have entered a 3v1 pretty early on in this game, and once again, they have a 4-gen to handle on this top side. It's going to prove to be so difficult, and even more concerningly is the fact that a fair few resources on that left side have been depleted. This pallet at 2 will surely be broken as well, and that's 1 less resource to play around inside of this unbelievable 3-gen. Hunter, I don't really know what Seadrag or Loong would need to do from this position. I think we might have just spotted somebody out at 11 as well. I don't know if my eyes have deceived me, but having chases go by quickly and being able to see Pepsi bounce between chase, going from chase to chase, is exactly what he'll need to do to 4K. But for Loong, they're really, really going to need to slow down the game moving forward and, of course, get rid of these gens.
Yeah, that's going to be the major problem here. But you couldn't get rid of them if you were just constantly dying over at top. That's the issue that we ran into. And the reason they were dying at top was obviously because the bottom generators would be being worked at that point in time. So it just created this instance where they were just kind of forced into a position where they don't like to be. Now they have a tunnel out at three generators remaining, like you said. But it is not at the end of the world. They can still pull outs from this. It would require a crazy looking chase here, and who better for the man for the job would be than Effect. I guess Lin, you could argue, I guess, but anybody realistically within this 3v1, I'll be completely honest with you now that I look at Sakuda, but Pepsi still trying to look for something a little bit more favorable to him. He wants to spot somebody out in a bad position, and like clockwork, we do see Lin just hiding behind coal buckets, and he is taking the chase around the main building, electing to greed this little short filler, but has to win it. And Pepsi, unfortunately, losing all the bumps and sliding off everything known to man, but can he get a nasty look and flick? No, we've camped the pallet and won the stun, got the blind in the process. Lin is up, and away. 20% hindered status effect because of Champions of Light. That's going to allow us to make this edge map filler. How about that? Instead of going for anything within the vicinity, we want to be eating the tag here and going to straight to a pallet where it's going to be hard for Pepsi to work with. But do we make it in time? I think we do, just by the skin of our teeth. And we didn't even drop it, I don't think. Oh, no, we did drop it. Nevertheless, we'll be trying to get a very nasty flick. Momentarily stopping Lin is, but with 4.4 speed, we are not going to be catching up to him anytime soon. We're going to be collectively waiting for those rushes to come back. We do have the Z-Wall here over at 9 to be working with as well. We vault it once for 150, well, 50 bucks in hand at the moment, and we're not going to be counting the 50s today as we have elected to just die into the corner of 9. We do see in the background another generator pop as well over at bottom, so really need to start flipping the map here, guys. These gens are freaking brutal. There's just going to be no way they're going to be able to break it if they keep on going down like this, and as I say that, getting this hook here, Pepsi straight back on the case towards that mean 3 gen that we do have. 11 got a little bit of proggy on it, but nothing to be worried about, so he'll probably just take this kick with Eruption after waiting for it to come back. Does still have the likes of turn back the clock for when he does elect to do so. Or how about we go for something a little bit more progress as we anticipate somebody's working here over at 1. There's options here, but ultimately has decided to go back to hook to try and catch out a rotating survivor off of the edge map, but does not quite see anybody here. And Pepsi still not choosing to kick that generator, opts to use the turn back the clock value instead. Now does still have a little bit of pop goes the weasel to his advantage, but has not opted to use it anyway. He's going to be breaking the pallets and again just slowing the game down just a little bit more. It's really hard for the survivors to come back and get this other survivor off the hook, Lin that is, and let them last, because you do need them off of the hook at some point. I think they've just opted to leave him to go to second, and Pepsi kind of happy to sit here comfortably and wait for the pressure of Sakuda's gen to just build up, as we know that it's probably sitting over at 3. I did not see, but we're managing to get the pull, the save here that's going to be Effect on the floor, who was Deli, I do believe, and also Unbreakable. I don't know if they used it just beforehand after being slugged, but going to be following up here towards the top half of the map, more towards central mid, and we've just elected to leave that because there's no point in chasing. And yeah, actually we're working 1 all that time, so it split the gens up nicely, but again, it's still pretty mean. It's still a top side 3 gen. Oh, hit going onto Sakuda. It's a plot twist in the background onto Effect. Oh no, fucking Effect was hit down. What am I yapping on about after the save attempt? Nevertheless, we'll be following up here onto Lin, potentially. No, leaving and going for the scratch marks over into 3. Getting a little bit indecisive here, but in the end, choosing the correct decision, I would assume. We do see all the way over into deep is Lin. And we're going for a little bit of a flicky montage here, but we do manage to get Effect up in the process in the background there. That's Sakuda, and they are probably going to try to go for a reset at some point, but they can't right now. The killer's hot on their trail. It's still going to be a task and a half to break these gens, and I'll be very surprised if they do here, Chief.
Yeah, I mean, look, the 3 gen, regardless of the fact that we did see 1 pop, is still nasty as hell. Pepsi is going to be able to hold onto it quite easily, especially with the continual slugs that he's managed to collect onto Effect. We did see Lin get reset in the background, which is to their benefit, but Sakuda will probably need to do the same, and I don't really know if they're going to get much of an opportunity to. Pepsi is straying towards that bottom side now. We do see him at the bottom mid tiles, and a crow flew up just in front of his face at 6. If he does spot that out and potentially catches out the reset, that will just be the game said and done, but a bit better then find it. Oh, never mind. We did find the reset. I thought we had found Sakuda by his lonesome, but no, we did find the reset all the way at 5. Sakuda barely able to avoid that flick. Somehow Pepsi just being overzealous with that one leaves Sakuda to live another day as he ventures towards that Z wall. But now Pepsi back up to the top side of the map, ensuring Lin cannot cross for free. Gets a tag, forces him back to the bottom side, and he will play actually around this tile at 3, knowing his damnedest to last, because if Pepsi does put him on the ground now, things will be quite problematic. In fact, just tried to force the locker there, but Pepsi, too aware of what that would allow, he's converted those rushes from Lin to Sakuda, put him on the ground, and that is an incredible show of skill from Pepsi, just completely aware of what he needs to be doing at all times. And right now, still on the trail of these survivors. Lin's going to potentially be on the ground with only this rock to work around, but he's done quite nicely to avoid those 4 rushes, and the 5th cannot connect as Lin just sends it away. Lin heading all the way back to that tile at 3. He's going to need to live, as we do see Effect running in to get this pickup. All the survivors are back on their feet once more, and the potential for Anti-Slug now is in play. I'm not too sure who has what perk, but we do know there is a lot of options for Anti-Slug on this S tier set. As Pepsi tries to get Effect on the ground, he will force the locker, and he's probably just going to stay in it, make sure that gonna have to take the pick and slow things down, allow Sakuda and Lin to reposition, potentially get some self-reset going, as I do know one of them is holding a medkit, and that is a massive boon. Effect has done millions of favors for his team. I lied, this is a beamer in his hand. Effect's actually the one holding the medkit. Thank you, Mr. Streamer. I'm a bit cooked, as we can tell. Sakuda does have inner strength, though, and he will be able to reset himself with that if he is able to find a totem, having ventured all the way to the bottom side now. And Pepsi, thinking he's at 10, is looking around this edge map. Has a hill as well that can act as a vantage point, looking over his kingdom of the top side of the map. Right now, it's going to be very, very difficult for our survivors to get back in this. Effect is crawling to the bottom side. We've just seen him cross that mid-map choke, and he's going to continue to do so, potentially meeting up with a Sakuda all the way down at 5 and allowing them to reset. I do really need to be mindful of the fact that right now the game is looking more and more in favor of Pepsi as we continue, but I do think Pepsi has no interest in taking this hook, which could result in a 0.5 minus point penalty for a fresh bleed out. But no, Effect is back on his feet, Hunter, and that does mean 3 survivors back up, their locations not known to Pepsi, other than Lin right now. That's beautiful timing from me, but things are back in action. Not for Lin. And I don't know if Hunter is in action right now either. Lin has taken... Oh.
I've been dying in the background to apologize after that one-liner. Not for Lin. Sorry. But anyway, he will be going down over in the edge map over at 10. Pepsi all on the front foot right now. I mean, yeah, you do have Effect and Sakuda both healthy in the trial at the moment, and that needed to happen, especially if you are to get some proggy all the way over at 3 here. But you also need Lin off the hook and to be hooked over towards that far generator deep inside of the 3-gen at that as well, all on the top side of the map. It's going to be fairly hard for our survivors to be working with. Maybe they even might elect to leave him to die, and I don't know honestly what the plan of action is here, because Pepsi will just hold this position and just try to find out whoever's stealthing around this vicinity. I don't think there's anybody here though. Oh, I've been sorely mistaken. There is our Claudette, and it's going to be Sakuda forced for the trade. Does get it successfully though, but it will be him on the floor. Lin doesn't really have anywhere to go but main. Now, what can he do? What does he have to his advantage? A pallet up here needs to win the stun. Playing around the mind games, and we've just greeted it entirely. But Pepsi has seen straight through the lies of Lin. He's vaulting the window here, but with our endurance status effect gone now, I was going to say we're going down, but apparently not, and we've jiggied and baited entirely. And back to the pallet we go on the out front of main. Here come in the mind games from Pepsi. 1 bump, 2 bump. Can we get flicky with it? Oh! Would have been nasty if that hit, but we were not quick enough. That was only a one bump flick, and still putting these generators to a hold, and we've ran into the corner of 11 to die. Lin really lasting around, nothing in a dream, and S-Flick coming in, not connecting. Lin still running around this down survivor here, maybe potentially playing for the 4K0 as we do force the locky here. Pepsi, a little bit hesitant to grab. Can we get a quick flick around to Effect and maybe see if he's getting that generator done, please? Wait, no, the force DS! Look at the generator achievement! No, that's crazy! They'll be getting outs from this. To think that they were at 4K3 territory when we had a down and Pig out of the game very early on. To think now that they're getting outs and that it's who better to do it than the Death Hook survivor. We've noticed we're chasing them and we need to go for a fresh hook at this point. Pepsi getting a little bit caught on the bumps there. Does manage to get the tag onto effect and he is a fresh hook. So this is ideal for Pepsi. It's also ideal to down everybody in the trial, but they're way too far dispersed. We are chasing around the exit gate that's been most progressed at the moment. Pepsi trying to play the mind games there and actually forces the locker is effect. And it doesn't matter that they're going to sacrifice the 3 stages. They are just going to... Oh, we're sacrificing potentially the bleed out onto effect as well as we have dropped him. So he's just going to crawl away. It's going to be a fresh hook bleed out. That's a nice looking stun coming in from Sakuda to just deny the hit there and extend the chase a little bit longer. Lin in the background somewhere. Probably even wants to get effect up and running again. But he's going to sacrifice all that gate pressure. Hang on a second. We've just jiggied entirely and gone back to the gate here. Over at 2 rather, sorry. 3, 2, somewhere around there. We do miss the swing onto Lin though, and we opt not to chase Lin. We go back for effect here, and that door is so close to being popped. It's popped even, how about that? And we are just trying to play around the pallet here, gets a stun in the process. Operation Save Mr. President effect. What can he do? Does get zone broken here into 8. Has this pallet to be working with. Does he drop it? No, he's greeted it, and he's playing around the stun very nicely. Did he break away? No, he didn't. Does he get the stun this time? He does! Can he make the gate over at 7? Corner 7, playing patiently. Pepsi blocking him from doing so. Really being on the correct side at this point. Both survivors in the trial left injured. Lin can definitely go down here to preserve the life of effect, but the question is, does he have time to make the gate? Effect, that is. It would only be the case if Pepsi were to use the power. They're going for a reset behind the rock, I do believe. Effect running around the long side again, wins the 50 there, wins it again. How about that? Pepsi still trying to really hone in, and oh my god, the 1v1s in this, man. He's absolutely crazy right now, and I'm running out of words to describe him, but vaulting the pallet again, winning all the kinds of 50s. I'm not even counting because he'll just take me for all I'm worth. It'll be every single cent out of my pocket if I keep counting and giving this man the 50s, but Pepsi still over at the correct side. We have 2 healthy survivors. Are they going to reset in front of our killer? I think they're electing to do so. We do have Sakuda ready for a body as well. Nice and far away. Forces the tag onto Lin, and he can die for his brethren. Does he do so successfully? Goes for a body block. It does not work out in his favor. Time running out on the gate. How do they get away from this? Going for a force down, but it's effect on the ground, and it's not Lin. We needed Lin on the floor, leaving him in the process. Sakuda eats the tag. Oh, I would have screamed if that was effect getting out of the gate, but we played a little bit too greedy in the end on the side of Pepsi. Definitely could have played for a little more stages if he hooked effect earlier on, but
Kelly.
ultimately... Oh, wait. No, but he doesn't get to use it.
No,
because-
yeah, oh, wait, yeah, you're right. Never mind. My fault.
No, back in the day, yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah.
Oh, back in the day, yeah? I don't know, man. Oh, so close, so close.
Been here too long. So you know what? Either way, regardless, we don't see the deli. That is effect dying on that hook for 8 stages. 800. 1 game in front of you, 1 in the background, and I do have updates for both. First of all, Loong versus Kratos. You're about to be seeing the second half of our Blight set in just a second. Pig has the right perks now. He did receive a minor penalty for that. The win con for Kratos is 8 stages in any capacity. They will be able to take the set with a tied result. Of course, Pig will need to achieve 9 or more to take this home for Loong. Although, Scouts versus Celestial, this is an interesting one. Scouts finally able to put an end to their match. They were able to take that Doctor set in the end. Don't remember the result, but I believe it was somewhere in between 7 to 5 stages for both teams collectively, respectively, rather. And, of course, Scouts ended up taking it home, Hunter, and that does mean only 1 game occurring right now. Our match staff is at full strength, and hopefully we won't have any more delays as Pig starts us off quick yet again.
Indeed, we do get a stun here on the side of Think as well. Pig going to be stopping momentarily, taking that break. Pop goes to charges, so straight back on the case though. After that, we are going to be just just taking the chase here over towards 8, where we see Pepsi getting tagged there. He's just forced into bottom now, has to make away with the distance he has been allocated. Pig deciding to leave and maybe choose to chase something else over in the far distance. We do see Think there over at 3, but ultimately we do settle for Pepsi, who tried to use balanced landing over at the stairs of Shaq, and it did not work out in his favor, but he does still have the filler pallet here over at 5, trying to play for the stun there, not quite working out. Here come in the rushes as well. He does not make the long side, unfortunately, trying to crouch and force the break onto the pallet there, but Pig, all too smart, knows that play way too many times. We do have some gen pressures sitting over there over towards top, so just unlucky that we weren't able to really last a little bit longer, you know, a couple seconds longer in this chase, but Pig knows that the gen pressure is going to be on the opposite side, and we do see somebody here over in the midsection as well. We've scared them off the generator, but maybe we just fatigue and go for the break with our pop goes. No, sorry, Ruin's still in the trial. I apologize. This is kind of the trade-off sometimes with bringing in Ruin. It doesn't allow you to utilize 2 other perks you have to your disposal. They are just kind of backup, so I wonder if the survivors will just be playing through it throughout the remainder of the trial. However, Pig now going to be using his power over towards Shaq. Does choose to use bump once, bump twice, and try to play around the back half of the Shaq building, but he has spotted out nobody as we did slow vault back into the Shaq there. It is going to be once again Pepsi in chase. Oh! I knew it was coming as soon as he faced the window. And you saw the momentum shift for like half a millisecond, and you knew he was getting slapped through the Macca's drive-thru. A Big Mac and a large fries and a Diet Coke, please. My God, that man's on the floor. Get him some milk, Chief.
I mean, yeah, look, Pig is obviously just in the head of Pepsi already. Wants revenge for being tunneled out, and I think Pig there has tried to either flicker around or break the pallet, but neither did end up occurring. That's a little bit unfortunate for him, but what a situation he's put himself in. We do have Pepsi Death Hook at 3 generators as Cole's about to complete our second gen of the trial. We are chasing Think around this little short box here, connecting into our God Filler at 6, right next to our hook as well. So Pig in, once again, a very, very strong spot. I wouldn't be too surprised if Think does just continue this chase for his tag. That's 12 a mess, if I've ever seen it before. Holy, that was very well played by Think to be able to make that vault over. And yeah, for him, that's actually not going to be him taking a tag into... Wow, actually, sorry, it's Pepsi on 12 MS. Sorry, I was mistaken. I knew one of them was 12. That's interesting to see. But yeah, Pepsi, finally, speaking of the man, is in his Death Hook chase, vaulting this jungle gym window, and will play to safety of the pallet. Has it quite nicely here for him as Pig goes around trying to play the M1 mind games, but 4-4 slow. Chungus is going to continue to try and bait out the pallet. It's unbelievably safe, and you know what's even safer than the pallet? The window that we can chain it to, and Pepsi's done exactly that. But now this is where the situation does get dicey. A long wall in between us, and unfortunately for Pepsi, the Dead Hard has been baited out. That's him on the ground, but definitely a longer chase than we were expected to have. He's also on top of that 99 gen. Dahao having to leave for just a second, haven't been able to pop 3 in time for his down, and that does mean the gen that we're most likely going to see pop first is this one here at 5. Cold and Think were doubling. They are putting themselves in a pretty decent spot, but Pig is aware of the fact that the gen at 3 is such high progress and wants to make sure it isn't going to pop, spotting Dahao out quite nicely in the middle of that tile, getting a tag onto him as 5 will be out of the way. I do believe that leaves us with split gens. Hunter, 1 at main, 1 at 3, and the 2 remaining on the bottom side. Dahao is going to get shocked down through that pallet, and wow. Look, it really could still go either way, Hunter. We did see our 3v1 begin a little bit earlier on, but I think Pig's 3v1 has begun in a bit of a better position. We still have Ruin on the board, and we also have Dahao on the ground. I'm not too sure if he's our unbreak survivor, if we can get a quick flick around to see that. And Cold, of course, is also injured, and that does mean our survivors are not in the most ideal spot. No, there is unbreak on Cold, so potentially not going to see anything happen with Dahao after that interaction, but no, we did end up having a hook onto him, so he will be left to sit here on the top side. And speaking of sitting idly by, Think is doing none of that. He's been caught out at 3, taking a tag as Cold is left to rotate quite quickly and get the unhook. And now all survivors injured, having to scatter around. 2 on the top side, still Hunter. We are being put into worse and worse positions by the second. Pig is capitalizing on everything except for that down. Unfortunately, we do end up getting suctioned to the pallet, and that leaves Think to last in chase.
Ah, nasty looking swing, did not connect though. He went for that. He's Well, anyway, he's going to be playing around the filler here, getting a little bit lost in his bumps. He's going to take the force break there, but he's going to sacrifice his charges, and we don't want to chase up Think for any longer than we have to. Straight back on the case, over towards 3. We are going to be taking our bumps to try and get to it. It does pop in our face, and we know 8's being slammed out right now. We're going to get the down. Dahau on the floor. Medkit in hand. We are probably going to be slugging him to go for the gen over at 8. I've been sorely mistaken. We go for the pickup here. We are going to be electing to hook inside of mid, which is going to be a little bit troublesome for the survivors to get out. They need to get that pull and need to get it as soon as possible. Ruin gets broken in the 3v1 as well. That's access to Pop Goes the Weasel and Eruption if we do need it. So, taking the chase back onto Cold here, who's just honestly got nowhere to go but 8. Does have the pallet to be working with the R and L, in fact, and some wacky mind games might spell his ultimate demise, but no, we have vaulted it successfully and delayed the tag, delayed the down. Again, winning the 50s, but crouching at the pallet trying to bait out another swing, and he is just going to be going down there, unfortunately. There's Pig going to also be breaking this generator here over at 8 with Eruption, and obviously Pop Goes the Weasel in hand. We are not currently at the win condition just yet. We are only 5 stages at the moment, and we do need for our killer 9 stages? Yeah, 9 stages. And we also have the deduction, the minus hook, minus 0.5 as per wrong perk being brought in, so you know, it does hinder him just that little bit. There is no tie condition. He needs to get those 9 stages. Nice little stun there from Dahau to extend the chase a little bit longer, and just going to be playing the 50s. Needs to win a lot of them if he is to last here. Nice looking swing there, but does not connect. Nice looking juke there. Does he go back for the second vault? No, we did not fall for it. We just W-keyed him down. Going for a long, ambitious swing, and we do manage to get it onto Dahau. Only 2 survivors left in the trial at the moment. The generator would need to pop now if it were to be a problem, but I don't think it's going to. I don't think it has enough pressure over at main. It's got to be close to being done, I would assume, if they're stacking it. And at this point, they can't go for a reset. They know they just have to play for it. It is on the back half of main, so it's going to be a little bit harder for Pig to actually manage. He knows it. He's rotating over there, and since it's not popping now, it's just not going to pop in the long run, honestly. Yeah, it just doesn't have anything on it. I thought they were doubling it all along, and so did Pig. They're going for the reset, which will slow the game down even further. There's no progression on the map. This is nothing for Pig to be worried about realistically. All he has to do is get his tags back in and straight back on the case. He can get those downs even quicker because it's the Blight, and he's quick. There's nothing on the map. It's Suffocation Pit 1. Honestly, it might be a fumble from Kratos, but they are trying to slow the game down and play it safe and believe in their chases, and I really do applaud them for that, but it's looking extremely unlikely as somebody who's seen the Blight sets pan out time and time again. You did manage to catch out the reset too. He knows they're in this area. He does see our Nia just hovering over that top of the hill there, ready to use that balanced landing. Cold now going to be using the out front of main. Now, if there's one chase to be taken towards upwards of a minute and a half, it's definitely within the main building at the moment, as that does still have the resource up, and technically it's down. Okay, it's still there, it's not broken. We do manage to break the breakable door as well to cause a little bit more of an inconvenience, but it's got to just spell enough time for Think to make down into the bottom section of the map where you can work the furthest generator at the moment, where I say Pig is going to be taking this tag onto our Nia there and just leaving the chase here entirely, probably. No, he's opting to commit this. Does he have Eruption on that generator? He doesn't. Going to be getting caught on his bumps here, and he has to be careful. Needs to get the down and does so effectively. That's going to be Cold on the floor. Think up and at them over at 8, so we can just happily slug this. And Pig once more rotating at this point. If you are to play for the best possible result, I think has to be off of his generator and slowly making his way to that slug, which is a lot easier said than done, because right now, as we do approach 8, we are going to be kicking it with no perks to our advantage other than Eruption at this point, because we did not hook Cold on the floor here. We only have the one perk to aid us in this regard, but it's just going to be enough within this 3-gen. It is far dispersed, but it doesn't really matter too much given the nature of how this game has panned out. We are still at 1 generator remaining at 2 survivors left in the trial, Chief.
I find it quite odd there. Obviously, Pig is playing for the best result. He wants a 4K1 from this scenario, but could have picked Cold, stood in front of him and won the game off of that. He only needs those 9 stages, and securing a death onto Cold or forcing Think into a trade would do exactly that. His win con was achieved as soon as he got that down, in effect. Of course, not on the scoreboard yet, but there's really nothing left for our survivors to do, but he has given them an out. There is now potential for them to recover this situation. Pig needs 3 more stages, and of course any hook will be able to achieve that, but he does need to take a hook. We know that main now is about 50%. We saw that Gen at 7 was close by. They do both have Eruption on them, and if Cold is to go down here as he drops the pallet at 3, things will spell an end. But Pig unable to connect with the rushes just yet. He's going to rush on over to the mid-map. He's checking on this gen yet again and think our healthy survivor is the one on it. He's going to be able to pre-leave stealth, potentially not even get found at all, and Pig isn't willing to risk it just yet. He knows his injured survivor is here on the top side. This is most definitely a quicker chase, despite the fact we have a stronger resource in main, and also right near a gen that we know is highly progressed. And speaking of, there's Cold on the ground. That chase has come to an abrupt end for him, and we do see the aura of Think just barely on that gen at 7, and unfortunately, I don't think he's going to be popping in time. His aura slowly leaving the gen as he's come to that conclusion alongside me and you, Hunter, and I do think that will mean Pig secures his 4K1. Of course, Think might still not get found, but as I do say that, he's run into the embrace of Pig, eyes on the target, and now a beautiful set of rushes to connect quite nicely. Nothing too flashy. Think taking the tag. No pallets left for him. Not even a pallet bottom mid. Wow. The RNG not in... Oh, sorry. He just does have this filler. It's just dropped. I didn't see it. I was going to say, the RNG really not been in their favor tonight, but going to have to play the 50s on the pallet. Pig swinging at it and unfortunately missing. Champions of Light will slow him down, and for that he's going to get rid of this pallet that's causing him a little bit of trouble. Think is venturing back to the top side. He might be playing to get Cold off the floor. Pig has swung through that, thinking maybe the pallet was on that side. I did for a second as well. Instead, we're just going to swing right on through this one and get him on the ground nonetheless. Pallets aren't real at all, are they, Hunter?
Apparently not. I mean, either that or he just forgot that it's still up. That's going to be Pig getting his second final stage of the trial here. He's going to go back and hook Cold as well. And Cold's done the right thing and just crawled towards our killer. So, you know, getting the game up and away because, wow, oh wow, we are not ahead of schedule tonight. So, going to be taking these final stages and overall matchup.
All right, everybody, it's Ghoul in time. We're loading in back to the suffocation pit, and we're going to see Pig on the Ghoul. We have nearly the same build. We swapped Pop out for turn back the clock. Yep, that's what that perk does, Hunter, just in case you're curious. New update, turn back the clock. You hook a survivor and it regresses the gen by 20%. Sounds like another perk in the game, I know. Pretty odd, but that's what we've got here and now. And speaking of things we've got here and now, we've got this incredible 3-gen, or 4-gen, if you consider that top mid-gen, on the top side. But the 3 Corrupt here is incredible, and of course, incredibly as well. Pig on the Ghoul, already getting his first tag of the game, is forcing the drop of a very strong pallet off to a flying start in the matchup. And of course, in typical Ghoul fashion, wants his injuries, wants his mending states, and there you go. Pepsi, the villain of tonight for Pig, and put him in a mending state as well. That's his second injury in 30 seconds. Ghoul is in full effect.
Full effect indeed, as we do take the chase here. We block from the two. Absolutely crazy stuff from Pig, getting that down on the back half of main. That's Pepsi, the captain of Kratos, on the floor here, as we do take the hook over into 10. Sensational stuff from Pig. It's going to be a regression there, and that's the funny perk you were talking about a little bit earlier in the beginning of the trial there, Chief. Is going to be breaking the gen over towards 5. Cold still injured, more towards the corner of where the trade is actually, where the save is, or where the pook is, I should say. Went through every single possibility other than what the situation was at hand. But hey, I mean, doesn't matter any now. We are going to be chasing up Dahao on the generator over at 5, which was the most progressed as it has been regressing now. Oh, I only got ruining the new trial. My apologies. Going to be taking that Kagune tag onto Dahao and leaving that, I would say, going back for the tunnel out potentially, getting our injures in, but all in the meantime keeping the pressure on the game itself. But I have been sorely mistaken and lying to chat. I am so gravely sorry. But we are going to be just trying to force Dahao in a bad spot. Going to be taking that vault over the pallet there too, but we do make Shaq successfully and safely, might I add. Playing a little bit of the wacky mind games, Pig really trying to catch out Dahao off guard, but he's not falling for any sort of shenanigans today. Does pre-drop the pallet over at Shaq and does decide to make the distance all the way down into 5 once more. But, as I say, that Caster's Curse corner around the one time for Shaq and just ultimately going down. There's nowhere really to run after that. I thought he was just going to haul us to corner 5, but I once again, have been mistaken and liked everybody in chat. We are going to be taking this Kagune attack onto Think now, and that's going to be all survivors in the trial injured. One on the floor, might I add, as well, for some extra pressure for the side of Pig. And we have yet to see the first generator in the trial proc in our face. So Pig putting on an absolute performance right now and really needs to keep up the pressure as we do take the mind games around the drop pallet here. We have successfully baited out our survivor Think, and he will be going down just before the pallet. Jim over in corner 8. Oh my, he looks ever so dominant right now, Chief.
Yeah, I mean, look, Pig's doing the things we expect him to do on Ghoul. We can't even be surprised at this point. He loads up on this killer every week, whether it be in DBDL, whether it be here in OSL, any other league that he competes in, right? And he just kind of hurts people a lot, and I think he's hurting their feelings just as much every single time he does something like this. It's unfortunately not worked out this time. Cold able to narrowly avoid being cut off from the pallet. Instead, will be forced to mend yet again, and speaking of that pallet, he's going to slam it in Pig's face. Say, don't you ever dare try to cut me off again. I'm going to make sure you can't play around this pallet with your bounds. Instead, I'll make you play the M1. And Cold narrowly escaping his down there. He will make that vault in time as well, extending his chase quite nicely as Pig needs to leave. He wants to protect this hook on to Think, and he does catch out Pepsi. Yet again, he's rotated from the mid-map to play quite safe in that tile. We do see some scratch marks at Shaq as well. I would assume that would be Dahao as he was picked up off the ground. Speaking of Pepsi, yet again, he is found in the mid-map. He's going to have to take this vault onto the window, but it's a medium, and unfortunately, Pig swings, that connects, and puts him on the ground. Yet again, that's going to be a second hook onto our Adam, as Think might be going second himself if we aren't too careful. Ruin cleansed as well. That was all the way at Shaq. Think has in fact gone second. Dahao sticking that totem instead of saving his friend. And that does mean we have 2 Death Hook survivors at 5 generators, Hunter. This is gearing up to be a really high gen 4K. We could have 2 people exiting the trial before a single gen pops, but at least to their benefit is the fact that with this totem being cleansed, they won't have to worry about the slug game as Cold ends up on the ground. That was a beautiful prompt steal as he does fake the leave onto Cold, imagining that he would probably be tunneling out his friend once more. And Think now, the other tunnel out of the game, has been taken off of his hook, Dahao saving him in the end, and we do see them towards the backside of Shaq. He needs to be very careful, this being Think, because we know what Pig can do around Shaq. In fact, he's already attempting to do it. Unfortunately, Think has left quite nicely. Here he is at 6, venturing to the top side of the map now around Water Tower. Pig's enrage has ended, so all of the mechanical goodness you would expect from his ghoul might come to an end. Instead, the M1 is his preferred option. Around this jungle gym, we swing at the pallet. The cutoff doesn't come out in time because Life is in effect. Think will be able to use that quite nicely. He does also have that pallet in the RNL dropped, and that can chain together with this one in the jungle gym effectively, but Think opting to play the jungle yet again. We are going to win the mind game there and vault safely into the inside, and Pig knows he needs to get rid of that pallet now, and over to 3 we go, some matchsticks in our way. Pig's going to use his bounds yet again. I don't think we're going to make the window vault because that's a medium. Yeah, there you go. Think getting grabbed, and that'll be him exiting the trial. Our first gen finally has popped. The one at main is very highly progressed. Cold heading over to double. We need to make sure it pops in time, but Pig is hot on their tail. We could see Pepsi on the ground exiting the trial if he's not careful, but no, he will play it safe. Cold instead being the man put down, popping the gen nonetheless to secure our second gen of the trial of 4K3 as it stands. Dahao is sitting pretty on the bottom side. He will most likely be able to pop his gen. Pepsi has managed to cut Pig off from the pallet, but Pig has said, no you, my friend, and done it once again in return. They're both on the ground now. Dahao will be popping this gen at 5, and that will just be potentially our 4K2 secured for Pig Hunter.
It might just be, as we do see the final moments of this generator over at 5. It leads Dahao to be in a spot where there's not really much else for him to do. He's on the opposite side of the map to the slugs, and Pig just looking very safe and sound in this point. Does decide to bait out the medium bolts into the outside of Shaq, and that will be Dahao going down, unfortunately, in our final fresh hook of the match allocated towards us for yeah, a 4K2. Wow, a very good result on the goal nonetheless, considering the nature of how the last sets have been going recently. I mean, if you do take a quick look into the stats, we do see that goal has been reaching an average of, well, it's 4K1 amongst the whole tournament, and the expected result obviously being high stages, 10 stages is, you know, it's not too far off, except the 4K2 is in comparison to the 4K, in comparison to the stages, sorry. The 4K2 that is that we've just seen here is it's a little bit far away from it. You'd want at least one more gen pop at least, but I mean. And welcome back everybody to what can potentially be the last match this time around. Yes, you are seeing Loong on the survivor side this time and Kratos on the killer. Gonna be Leanne won actually on the kill off for Kratos, which I have yet to see what their ghoul is like. You know, I think I've seen it somewhere in OSL, but it's been a long time coming since I've seen it again. So we'll see what he can do up against Lin Pig, Effect, and Sakuda. These guys are the big men, the big guys in this scene. So hopefully we can actually pull back some good results, at least for Leanne. One, I mean, 4K3 on the cards. Well, let's make it happen. What do you do from here? Fast chases, bang, bang, bang. You can't mess around, but I mean, against Chinese Dragons, you might have to. You don't really have no choice. As we do see them stealthing around the bottom half of the map, they are still yet to cross the midpoint, and it's only a matter of time before Leanne finds his first chase. I mean, you do have that generator there sitting over towards 9 per se, and we are going to be spotting effects straight off of it. He is going to be getting marked with the Kagune tag, and since we haven't caught sight of no one else, maybe we might commit onto this chase. But no, conventional gameplay play for the Ghoul is to get your tags in, go around the map and find somebody else and make sure everybody's injured, take advantage of the fact that you have 3 dashes off of the first tag, get the pressure on the board nice and early, and then the mid to late game can just be brutal. But I mean, or at least particularly in the middle game, but I mean, forcing that extra pressure with the potential resets needing to be done is crucial for this killer. And we do see the scratch marks here over towards 3. It is going to be Pig in chase straight off the bat. He's going to be getting tagged and hauling us down to the 5 section of the map, where there should be a pallet at his disposal, as this tends to be sometimes a stacked area, but we do have one short pallet into another short pallet over at 5. We've elected to greed that one and go all the way down into just before the shack building. However, a nice block there from Leanne 1 could spell Pig's ultimate demise, and we've caught him on the wrong side of the pallet. However, of the loop, I guess. However, it does make the pallet, gets the stun in the process. In comes in effect for that protection hit if we do need it. He is just lurking it around, and we're playing in 2s very early. That's a nice protection hit, and it comes at a cost with Force Penance. I forgot to elaborate on the build, yet it does not matter. As we do get the pallet stun there, Leanne is going to take the break and then just try to catch off Pig off guard in a bad spot. He does still have 7 to be working with. It's a God filler as well, so it's going to be a little bit of problems for Leanne to be working with. He has to play around the long side and then eventually zone break back into Shack, which means that Pig is going to be able to make the window once more and does still have the filler over towards central bottom half of the map. Getting a little bit frustrated at the window, and we're giving him a big old smooch. Pig now going to be creating more distance towards that bottom filler that I was just talking about a little bit earlier. And after this has been used, we are straight back down to the case of 9 and 8. We can just hold here over towards the bottom of the map if we so please, and we do so very nicely. Another generator popping for this chase as well. So they are immensely on the front foot right now. We are at the win condition at the moment. We have the 4K from this very position to take away the set, which I don't think is likely, given the fact that Pig has put on the Jets this time around on the Survivor. He's really redeeming himself for the lackluster of Blight gameplay he had beforehand. I'd say Blight in the Survivor set, not the killer set. Guy played tremendous amongst the killer set, but that's a nice looking stun, and he's up and away. How are you going to chase this man when he's just counteracting your every move? Does he greet the pallet here? He does, but we don't go for the ambitious swing. Leanne 1 going to be taking that down onto Pig very, very late in the trial. Top stuff from Pig himself.
Yeah, I mean, that was an incredible chase. We've effectively won the game already off the back of that, you know. Pig just really wanted to put this one to bed, and I guess with how behind schedule we are, I can't blame him. That was incredibly well played from him on the Survivor end, and, you know, you wanted to point out Force Penance. We actually didn't see any value from it at all. It's obviously to prevent that same Survivor being reset and playing for another hit take, but Effect was able to, Pig was able to last the entirety of that 90-second duration that the perk has, so very well played by him, and an incredible chase to, as you can see here, secure the tie condition. 3 generators for 1 hook state. It's going to be feeling rough for Leanne, who I think is having a bit of a baptism by fire right now, Hunter. This is a player from a team called Lipstick that I am quite familiar with, and he's been picked up by Kratos this time round. I think he's a bit of a project player, an academy player. Lipstick and Kratos seem to have a very strong bond. I obviously can't confirm this, as I, believe it or not, don't speak Chinese. I don't communicate with these teams, but just an outsider looking in who is quite familiar with how long they've been around. But yeah, Lipstick seem to be sort of an academy team for Kratos, and Leanne is one of their star players. Cold, someone we saw in the previous Survivor set, is like sort of their mentor, I believe. He's always playing with Lipstick and sort of leads the reins for that team whenever they do compete. So for me, seeing Leanne is a welcome sight. This is definitely going to be a very tough game for him in OSL. I'm not too sure if he's competed in OSL before, and I'm not too sure he's played Killer for Kratos before either. So if that's the case, both being a first time, that would be once again a complete and utter baptism by fire. But we do see him collecting another few tags. We have Effect still injured, and Lin just being tagged there as the fourth generator does pop. Pig, his tunnel out has been lost, but I think we're past the point of achieving a tunnel out. We do have this 3-gen and stages to collect. The game, by the way, has been won by Loong already. That was enough for them to take the set. 4 generators is all they needed for their win con, and we are well and truly past that as Lin and Effect get reset. We enter the 3-gen situation with 4 survivors on the board, 4 survivors healthy, and Sakuda now in Chase Hunter.
Sakuda in chase, and yes, the win has gone to Loong. Amongst the entirety of the series, they're dominating it 2-0. I mean, it was looking pretty promising with that Blight set, but everything just came crumbling after. I think the pressure eventually got to them, but, you know, they put up a good fight, and even so now, Lian, even though considering the fact that we lost Pig out tunnel out, can still potentially pull 4 stages at the very least. This is an incredible chase coming in from Sakuda. He's able to backvolt there too as well. Straight dump tech, straight into Lian. He has to probably break this pallet here because he can't really play around it. That's going to be a blind as well. We've timed that firecracker down perfectly, and it's in such a good spot. We are going to be able to not vault the window, unfortunately, but latch onto the survivor nonetheless, and we are still in that enraged mode, or we just got into the enraged mode, I don't really remember, but we are going to be playing around the T here and trying to catch off Sakuda off guard, but we do manage to have these body blocks coming in hot as well, and a pallet save even better, so we have made the pallet just in time, going for an ambitious pick, and we're calling the bluff, and we've won so successfully, but we're just on the wrong side. Pig had to be on the inside of the tile there. We do manage to get the pick up here and a hook onto the corner of 9. Now, the question is, are the survivors going to be playing for this? They're going to get a tag off of the hook. This does not result in a hook stage. Unfortunately, the hook is facing in the incorrect way for our killer. Sakuda, with balance landing in hand, does utilize it, and can he get a body block in time, as he does have to divert to the middle of the map? No, no, no. He goes back down. Still grounds for 4 stages. Now, going to be taking this pick up here and straight back towards top mid, but is there any gate in this area? I do not think there is. Lin's had enough. He wants out of the trial. Pig probably going to be following up alongside with Effect as well, and that's going to be 4 stages to fresh. You know, when up against Chinese Dragons, you have to consider that fact, especially with this